This is part three of psychological talk of logical MGTOW. I'm logical MGTOW Spuck, of course, as before. You see that I'm not wearing my Starfleet uniform, but I will eventually. Still, but today's talk is going to be about many things. Of course, it might be a mixture or even tied in with other aspects to the to the talk. And we can start with the aspect that even millennials, as well as the non-millennials, expect us guys, us the be that of course the millennial feminist women, expect us guys to um, go to the points of where they want us to forgive them essentially for their past. And yet there's an old saying that once a cheater, always a cheater. Like Rachel says, which is Jennifer Aniston's character says that on Friends. But yet the woman wants the female essentially wants the man to believe that she will never do that again. She she um she knows that she's done wrong and why she became single and basically used by the one that she cheated on her other relationships with. The conceptual base of that, of the cheater always a cheater, once a cheater always a cheater, it's more than logically said, because women claim that, oh, they would never cheat. Oh, it's only a certain percentage of women. The basic fact is that's a load of shit. Um, the other aspect is that when the woman finds that she has the open door, more than seldomly, way beyond seldomly, she takes the bait. Way more than seldomly, to where the general saying of seldomly is non-existent. Um, and yet, like for example, let's see. One woman I talked to on Facebook Messenger claims that only men cheat. Women don't cheat. Not all women cheat, essentially. And I go, that's a load of shit. Then she goes into trying to defame me and trying to use my children into it, which basically is a sin. Thereby, the seeing that she did that, she is definitely going into the pits of hell, spiritually. Um, the aspect of it is that women don't like to be told that they're wrong. I've noticed this in many different attributes, and in many different situations. Only so many will accept it, and that so many is very minimal, very small, if any. The one part of the reason why I mentioned this is every so often whenever I look on YouTube, there's a cover thing of saying, yes, yes, I cheated, but why won't men forgive me for my past? In which one MGTOW brother did a podcast video of the particular topic in question, topic in what I figured I'd be able to put my aspect into it. But anyway, and possibly more. Um, the the general fact is that when guys cheat, and I've said this before, when guys cheat, they get slapped in the face or kicked in the shins, and the woman walks away pissed off or and upset and various other things. But yet, when the woman cheats, the woman expects us men to fucking forgive and stay with her, as if there's a reason, as if they have a reason, but we don't. Logically, nobody has a reason to cheat. Nobody, there's no logical reason to cheat. But women think that daddy government will be able to protect our sorry asses, and men would have to put up with the fact that women ride the cock carousel even while in a relationship or marriage. It doesn't work that way, ladies. You women don't want us men to cheat, so therefore we deserve the same damn fucking respect. You don't cheat, yet you cannot say that you don't, because you know you have in your past as well as your present, ladies. But the basic fact is also, MGTOW brothers, we know this. The future MGTOW brothers need to know this. The basic fact is that we can easily go to the points to where, more than going our own way in this aspect, we can go more in the sense that seeing that women think that they have reason, and yet we don't have a reason to do the things that we do, but they have a reason to do what they do, even if it's a damn repeat of what we've done to them. There's no, it's not a aspect to where one gender has reason but the other one doesn't, like a one-sided bullshit thing, right? But the basic fact is women are using that to their advantage, and daddy government, like I said, is basically defending their ass on that aspect. So basically, women are using daddy government like little fucking children, which basically that shows women are not really truly fucking adults. They're using things like a little stubborn child does when it comes to many things to get away with shit. And they expect their parents to defend their wrongful actions so they can do it again and again and again and again. Instead of teaching them, wrong. There's a difference, though. Psychologically, there is a difference. And that is that when both males and females are children, say 5, 6, 7, 4, 3, and 2, right? They're learning. Okay, so therefore, if they do wrong, then of course they'll be told by the parents what they did wrong. But yet, be forgiven, and then thereby hopefully they figure the parent hopefully goes to the points where they feel that the child knows it's wrong to do what they did. But from time to time, the child repeats the same thing, if not more deeper, much more deeper than that, right? And we have done before we grew into the adult aspect, right? We were the children learning what was right and wrong, being told what was right and wrong. But yet we were forgiven for our mistakes by our parents. Okay? Women and even millennial women are doing the same shit to us men. And yet they think that daddy government, besides the police of cities, state, and counties, and besides the court system and the laws, which within each different state and country possibly, um, they're basically being backed, protected, defended for their wrongdoings and wrongful actions and sinful actions. But even the other aspect of it is, in the spiritual sense, when a woman does something spiritually sinful, they don't think they don't think they have to fucking repent. They think that they'll be forgiven right off the fucking bat without question, just because they're known in society's aspect and society's eyes as the weaker gender. And they think that men don't repent when they do wrong. How do you know that, ladies? Are you around them for 24/7? Are you around them when you're in the kitchen? Are you around them when you're at work? Are you around them when you're in a mall? Are you around them in while they're at work? Are you around them when they're in the brotherhood type of grouping in the churches? Huh? No, you're not. Not all the time. So you cannot say that you do know that men do not repent. When they repent, when they feel it necessary, when they feel comfortable to, and they don't have to report to you women every fucking thing that they do and do not do. Heavenly Father is between Heavenly Father and the male, just like it is between you and Heavenly Father, but the one difference is we men know what we have done and did wrong. Women know it, but yet they fucking think they can just skate right by. Like they'll be forgiven like right there and be able to go right through the pearly gates of heaven. Even after being judged, after their time is up on this planet. Doesn't work that way. Women are treated in a spiritual sense, and should always be treated in a spiritual sense. They are treated in a spiritual sense by Heavenly Father Himself. That once they do wrong, the level of judgment does not change for them. The level of judgment does not change for men, regardless of gender either. So basically, women don't realize that when they do things against the Bible, their judgment is going to be just as harsh, equally as harsh as it is for men that go against the Bible. I know, MGTOW brothers, you're probably wondering why I mentioned the Bible again on this one. Is because it's logically sound. You know, I'm logical MGTOW Spock, right? So therefore, I'm going by logic, and be that, of course, logic also connects with spiritualities, and within the base of reality. It's like, okay, I'm gonna give you an example, okay? And if Chris Dixon is watching this, again, you watch part 2, by the way, Chris Dixon, of psychological talk. Logical MGTOW, logical, psychological talk, part 2, Chris Dixon. Anyway, when I was going with 2 different women the ones I mentioned on part two. Uh, they they did wrong in the sense of going against the Bible, and yet not once did they repent. Not one time did they repent. Of course, I didn't either, but of course, I was going by what I felt, but yet at the same time, I repented when I wasn't around them. That's the aspect of also is that women think they know us men. They don't. They do not know us men. The other aspect of it is that Jill Yeaman, aka now Jill Dixon, did this to me 3 times. First 2 times. Then the third time happened when I went over to my female friends at the time and her female friends at the time, of our female friends' place in Sunnyvale. I had 2 days off in a row, and she didn't want to do anything with me, even though I had something planned for her and I to do, and I had the money for it. Right? Um. So instead, she stays over at our other female friend's place in Sunnyvale, not telling me what she's really doing, even though I had every God-given right to know because we were supposedly going together. Yet she didn't break it off with me at all, not even over the phone. If she did over the phone, I said okay, fine. I wouldn't have to, then I wouldn't worry about it, right? She didn't though. It took the fucking fact that I went down to Cortez, where I later lived years later. Then one of our female friends took me to the, their place that she shared with another female friend of mine and Jill's, right? At the time, of course. And just to note, the 2 female friends I'm referring to, I haven't heard from in years after. Several years after. Even to this point, I have not heard from them. But anyway, getting back to it. I go down there, she goes into the place, and I was about to go in the place. But I didn't. I looked right through the window at a shock and dismay. Jill was literally hanging over a dude with practically no hair here, but hair here. Almost like a fucking a moderate-sized version of a slightly chubby version of Columbo. Or the other 70s detective. But but you know the one thing is that she could have easily said, "Dave, I don't want to be with you anymore. It's over." I'm like, all right, fine. I actually had to be there in order to see something I didn't want to see. No guy wants to see this shit when women do this. I know that. But yet when women see that, if us guys do it, though, involve themselves into the whole surrounding and make a dramatic bullshit over it. Or at times they'll just walk away and expect us to go after them. Not doing anymore. The basic fact is that when years later, maybe a year and what was it? A year and almost 4 months later, I'm over at Cortez, living there, of course, or I think I was either living there or visiting there before I started living there officially. Um, I run into the one person who comes up that Jill was hanging over, comes up and sees me, and he's surprised. He's shocked. He may have thought that I wanted to kick his ass, and believe me, if I felt the same way I felt then, I would have. Believe me, I would have walloped on his ass, but I didn't, because like I said, it was about a year and a half later, right? And thereby, from that point, even maybe about a month before the end of the year, even before the end of the year of when it happened, I gradually got over the whole bullshit, right? And thereby, I got to the point where it wasn't his fault. She committed the fucking sin. She committed the wrongdoing. Jill did the wrongdoing. Jill Yeaman, aka Jill Dixon, did the fucking wrongdoing, knowing that she never broke it off with me and thought that she'd be able to do something behind my back and without me knowing, like women do even nowadays. She thought she'd be able to do things and just skate right by, just like nothing ever really happened. I know the fucking fact would be if I didn't see it, she would have come over to my place, or want me to come over to her place, and everything be a hunky dory, all clear and clean when she did the fucking wrong thing, even if I weren't there to see it. But knowing the fucking fact that I was there to see it, she knew that I didn't want. She knew right then, from that point on, I didn't want to fucking have a thing to do with her. In fact, I believe I told her that one, right out of anger and frustration, and whatnot. And since I called her a bitch and a fucking slut on top of that, but basically she acted like the two I just said by doing such of an action for the third time. And even years after, but a year after, years after the fucking fact of that happening, her father Scott Yeaman and myself were still tight friends and everything. I mean, literally businessmen nonetheless, right? With the fact that I was working retail, I still considered myself a businessman, and because he had a body shop, he owned a body shop, although I don't know if it's still in business or not. He probably sold it by way before now. um, then then of course If Chris Dixon is still watching this video, you'll like this. And she'll probably tell you it's a load of shit when it's not a load of shit, Chris Dixon, I can guarantee. If Chris Dixon is watching this. MGTOW brothers, this is another aspect to it, too. I was friends with this dude by the name of Todd Nichols. He lived in Sunnyvale. He hung out with me and a number of people over in the Cortez complex, which was essentially a independent living apartment setup through a particular independent living program. The basic fact is that when Todd was eventually going with Jill Yeaman, aka now Jill Dixon again, I was hanging out with my friend Chris Thompson, my high school friend. In fact, I consider him a friend still. I don't know where he's at. I hope he's doing okay. I pray he's doing okay. And I pray that he's still with us on this planet. But anyway, I was with I knew that my one friend Todd Nichols was going with her at the time. At this point in time, right? That I'm about to mention. Then when I was hanging out with my friend Chris Thompson over at my place, and Jill had the fucking cojones. Jill Yeaman, a.k.a. Jill Dixon, had the fucking cojones to fucking call my place and try to tell me try to act as if she can tell me what to do. I'm going to open my Pepsi here. And with the fact that she did what she did years before, this would be roughly about 2 to 3 years before, right? At this point. At least 2, maybe. She had the fucking cojones to fucking call me up at my place and try to act as if she can tell me what to do when she cannot. That's what women do as well, MGTOW brothers. Even if they are not going with you, even after doing you wrong, they think they can tell you what to do, as if they have say so over your fucking actions more than you yourself do, even when you're not going with them. As long as they know that you are around and you exist, that's exactly what they'll do. But here's the one thing. They don't have any say so what we men do with the fact that after the fact that the bitch does something stupid, illogical, sinful, and wrong, all in every other aspect that is negative, the negative base. And if they think they can fucking tell you what to do, believe me, they don't. The only way they will be able to tell you what to do is if you allow them to do it. So do not allow them to do it. Every new MGTOW member must know this as well. I told her she can't tell me what to do any longer. We are not going together, so therefore she cannot tell me what to do. And she's like, yes, I can. And I said, no, you can't. Click, right? I hung up on her, right? And then she calls back with him about 3 seconds later, roughly. She said, "Don't you dare hang up on me again." I'm like, "Oh, I can do what the fuck I want." Click. And after that, she never called. Of course, in between that, about about a month and a half later, her and I were kind of coincided differences, but I made sure she was safe. I'm a caring person, okay? This was before I became MGTOW. Years before I became MGTOW. And she was still going with Todd and everything. And then we were celebrating the New Year or whatever. But and then I went, then I went home after a while. We didn't do anything sexual, if you're wondering that. Um, Even though I know Chris Dixon, she'll try to say that we did when we didn't. Even though when we were starting to go together, that's the first thing she wanted to do, and I wanted to get to know her first, which was the logical thing. She wanted to just right there, even with her parent, with her father, right downstairs. I'm respectful on every level, practically, more than most men are. Because if I was any other guy and I went on to it, I know her father would have pulled me off of her, and dragged me with my pants down near my ankles, right out the damn door. I know that for a fact. So I was being respectful to her as a woman and as a human being, and I was being respectful to her father. With the fact that is that once we show respect to their family as well as the woman, it should be seen that it should be a positive for us. It is a positive for us when it comes to parents, though, but it isn't with the fucking woman, obviously. It's like a fucking thing. Oh, I thought you liked me. Yeah, we do like women, but we don't have to fucking just jump in the fucking sack with them with their father or mother being downstairs in the same point. That doesn't show any respect whatsoever. We're not we 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 don't always go to the points of only wanting one thing and then that's it type of shit. When we want an actual relationship with a woman, it goes to the points to where we go towards respect for everybody within the same circle as the woman, being the woman and her family members, even if they live under the same roof. Apparently, that didn't compute up here with her, and it doesn't compute up here with most women. So, so in general fact, it's almost like she tried to get me back for not doing what she wanted me to do, even with her father downstairs, while they were living under the same roof. The general fact of it is that Jill had no logical state of mind up here. She still doesn't, because as I said in part two of logical psychological talk of logical MGTOW here, um, she literally, literally called me up on the phone. We were friends at this point because at that point I was already married at one point and then divorced at the other point when she called me. At this point, she was calling me, and I was already divorced. My choice. And of course, this is again before MGTOW, before I became MGTOW. She wanted me to come down to Truckee, California, where her and her now husband, Chris, lives or lived. I don't know if they live in the same area or not, but anyway. The woman Jill Yeaman, aka Jill Dixon, as I said, she wanted me to come down there. As I said in part two, she wanted me to come down there and try to get me in trouble with her now husband Chris Dixon and try to say that I'd try to do something when I didn't. When really it would be her action that she would try to get me in trouble with, and by trying to turn the tables on me. Women do that. The basic fact is, women do not care about what actions they do, even to us men, as long as they get away with it. That's all they care about. And even spiritually, they think they can get away with it. They can't. Morally, they might be able to nowadays because of daddy government. But spiritually, hell no. Hell no. Women cannot get away with their illogical, sinful, negative actions and judgments and assumptions about us men, even towards us men. And even when it comes to us men in general. With us being involved in the shit. You know what I mean? I've been gradually living my life spiritually as being as well as being a MGTOW brother, a MGTOW member essentially. And believe me, it's I've been more than content. No woman wants to be with me. That's fine. No woman wants to even try to get away with get her way with things when it comes to me. As I said, is that with my intelligence, and like I said, everybody has their own types of intelligence. I'm not saying I'm like Einstein or the smartest person on the fucking face of the planet. I'm not saying that. But the basic fact is that with what I know, in the sense of knowing the male and female psyche, the base of, and also the aspects of psychology, and more, right? And what have you else on any number of things. It's a wide number, really. Um, it could be exactly what I said on part two of logical MGTOW logical psychological talk, part two, which was that in some respect, women see while I'm out, even when I'm out in my travels, that women see that I've been through the shit that women tried to fucking pull and get away with, and with the fact of that, I know what to watch for and what to avoid. Thereby, with the fact of my knowledge of the male or female psyche, they don't want a person to know them from within. They want a person to still be wondering about the female gender and still wanting to go after the female gender and still wanting the comfort of the female gender and the company of the female gender. Women want the same thing when it comes to us men. But there's only a one difference. We want the positive part. They want the part where it only benefits them. Where it's one-sided for the fucking female, but it's not one-sided where it's logical for us men, both spiritually and otherwise, in the sense of humanity and reality. I know. There's been many aspects of talks where even many MGTOW members have done videos like women want to be treated like men. Why? Women are acting like men. Why? And how the fuck are they acting like men? Men don't do what the women have done to us men. Women don't use daddy government. I mean, men don't use daddy government to get what they want from the woman. When women do that to us men. Women have done that to us men since late 80s through the 1990s. And that's the feminist female version of acting like a man. Even the aspect of adultery without the significant other knowing, especially even if they find out. That has no correlation with the male gender, one iota. So the feminist females don't know men as much as much as they think they do, with the fucking sinful bullshit type actions that women have done to us men, both sinfully in the spiritual sense as well as immoral and illogically and non-realistically. There's only so far one person that I know that knows women besides myself. That's Tom Likas and Dr. Phil. But for us MGTOW brothers, it would be Tom Likas. But for us men in general, it could be both. Outside the confine, outside the aspect of MGTOW, it could be both, essentially. That's what I'm saying. But for us MGTOW members in general, it's Tom Likas, besides myself. And besides our own selves in our own ways. Each MGTOW member with their own aspects of intelligence and knowledge when it comes to the female gender, especially from their own experiences. That is more than a given. I would have said the same thing about Duzangs too. He was a MGTOW brother, although he hasn't made one video thus far. I don't know if he got canceled out or what, or if he stopped, or if he decided to close his account with YouTube or what. But he made perfect sense of his own. he followed the MGTOW aspect to his own understanding, which was logical and which was respectful and more than acceptable. Or he could have decided to no longer go MGTOW and become a blue pill to eventual purple pill again. Who's to say? We don't know, of course. So therefore, I'm not judging. I'm just thinking. I'm just maybe assessing, if you will. But nonetheless, I respected him. You already know a percentage of what happened with myself and Alyssa Benton, aka Rose Benton. The one thing you don't know is she at one point came down to the place where I was living with a bouquet of roses, white roses, wanting me back. I didn't take her back officially. I just went down to her place and she repeated the same fucking bullshit action again. She may have thought I'd taken her back right off the fucking bat, but I didn't. Because I knew she was going to do something illogical and stupid and sinful. And one of them being with Michael Hager. If I ran into the bitch again, I'd fucking walk right past her, not saying one damn word. If I had any association or an encounter with, or basically a first encounter, Pepsi, the choice of the new generation still. Anyway, if I had an encounter with Jill Yeaman, aka Jill Dixon, again, I wouldn't have. I would just walk right past her, not saying one word. And that way, it would be showing respect towards Chris Dixon. Even if, but of course, if Chris Dixon said, "Hey, it's okay, Dave, you can talk to her," I'd be like, "I understand that, dude, and I thank you for saying that, but I'm MGTOW now." Even if I wasn't making a video in that same aspect, I would say that plus I'm MGTOW now. And if he goes, "Okay, what's MGTOW?" I tell him straight up what it is and what it's truly about, versus the naysayers out there. Most of them being feminist naysayers, and blue pill naysayers, and white knight naysayers. The basic fact is also, if she were to call me right now, or even after this video, or if they were to come across any one of my other videos, I'd politely say hello, and if I heard her voice, click. You want to test me out on that, Jill Yeaman, aka Jill Dixon? Go for it. Lo and behold, I don't think Chris Dixon would want you to do that. Therefore, I don't think he'd be too happy with you on that. In fact, I know he wouldn't be. Unless you were to say you were only going to talk to him and become friends with me again and and then all this innocent bullshit that you know that you don't plan to do logically, and you'll tell Chris the same shit that you'll do this, but you really in your fucking mind, Jill, that you don't really want to do that. You want to try to get me in trouble with him again, like you did the last time many years ago. Like I said in part two, I respect Chris Dixon, and I will always respect Chris Dixon. The basic fact is also he should know that I would never do something to another man's woman. Yeah, that's another thing too, man. MGTOW brothers, that saying is not said anymore. And in many ways, logically and psychologically, I can see why. Because females have gone to the brink of non-realistic, sinful shit, and with even with the help of daddy government. Seriously, the man's woman. There are women out there even today that don't like that statement. They don't like that saying, essentially. But yet they use it. He's my man. They use it as if it's okay for them to use it, but we can't use it. Like, for example, Hell's Angel members used to call their women their old ladies. Their the girlfriends. Yeah, my old lady. And when they talk about my old lady this, my old lady that, right? I respect the old Hell's Angels, man. They're cool. They cool. In fact, I ran into a couple of them, I think, at one point, many years ago. The biker gang, that is. The one other aspect is that Jill Yeaman, aka Jill Dixon again, as I said, she wasn't truly ready. As I said in part two, she wasn't truly ready for a relationship. Who's to say if she was ready for a relationship or even marriage with Chris Dixon? Because it's been also said and speculated in such a way that she's been doing things behind Chris's back. Of how I've heard her talk, the way she talks. The way she talked to me the one time. Aside from doing a so-called radio show. That's one of many things that Chris Dixon may not know. And if Chris Dixon thinks I'm lying and trying to defame her, I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. I'm saying the truth. I was able to tell the way she was talking. I ain't stupid. There's many ways that many people talk just in order to find out what they're really saying. And this is a psychological fact and truth, okay? But in the MGTOW sense, it's directed towards women. It could also be directed towards men, but in this case, towards women. Because women have done the most illogical shit, sinful shit, way more than men have ever. way more. Even while being in a relationship with another person. In this case, male and female type of relationship. And yes, I know even since the 1990s, there's been male and male and female and female. But we're talking male and female type of relationships here. We're not going against the Bible here. So, what is it do you think, MGTOW brothers and future MGTOW brothers, what is it you think that could be done, if anything, that would be able to sway things to go our way? Me and myself and Mr. Hate Vicious and Mike the MGTOW Man and James Von Maxwell, MGTOW Hamster, have come up with many different things along the way. What do you think? It may take some time for you to figure it out because you're still new to this MGTOW thing. I know. For the new MGTOW brothers and future MGTOW brothers, I get that. There's many things that women do and have done even without you knowing. And yet they act like, oh, I love you. Oh, I want to be with you. And then suddenly, right when you're at work or something, they do something behind your back, and you're none the wiser, guaranteed. And then right when you ask them about it, they'll bullshit their way through. That's why we MGTOW, starting with myself and Mr. Hey Fishes, say don't ever get engaged with a feminist female. Do not ever give a wedding ring to the feminist female. Because once you go down that fucking aisle and say your vows and I do's, she might have already slept with a number of other men before and plans to after. I bet. She won't say it, but that's practically the more than logical, more than an assumption, way beyond the aspect of assumption, really. With the fact that she knows that she has you to where she can get at your resources easy while fucking going behind your back and riding the cock carousel by jumping on dick after 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 dick and so on and so forth. As if you are not enough. As if we men are not enough. Women have done this. It has been done to me. It has been done to several others even before me. And it's been done to several others besides myself on the same fucking time wavelength. And it's been done to several others even after that. Even while I was in a relationship, it's been done to several others even now. And I'm sure it's in those buildings across from here, it's been done left and right. And the woman, thanks to daddy government, is able to get away with it. Even any other female and male's apartment that the female cohabitates with the male or may not cohabitate with the male yet on any given aspect and area. And this happens across the fucking country of the United States and every other country, including Hawaii. Be that the continent of Hawaii. and these islands like Maui and what have you else. The only thing that we men can do is walk away. If you're in a relationship with a woman and you're planning to, or if you're even having maybe the conceptual thought of being engaged to the woman, or even married to the woman, if you're in that step as well, don't do it. Because once you are married, then basically, if she's once she gets to the point of being unhappy, there's two things like I said on part two. She'll either go to the points of separation, even if you don't have children at this point in time, or even if you do with her, right? Or it could be to where she says that the child's yours, but biologically it's not, right? That's another aspect that's been happening to many men that are married or even not yet married to the feminist bitch. And if you are married and that sort of thing happens, believe me, she'd still be able to take you for everything you have, every bit of everything you have. Not only the money, but other aspects. Your place of residence, be that a house or whatever, your car. Anything that you hold dear, especially. Outside yourself, that is. I know you blue pilled Simpsons say no, that's not right. That's not true. My woman would not. Or how do you? You know what though? That's another one. She may like the fact that you call her your woman when she's around you, but she may not like being called that as if a label because she doesn't have any respect for you in the fucking first place. She only is thinking of what you can give to her and get for her. Women have even said they don't like the labeling of being called his woman. I don't like that, but they can call us their man, their man. He's my man, type of thing. As if they have more of a right to put that type of label on, but we men don't. That makes no fucking sense. And even in logic, it makes no fucking sense. Even in reality, it makes no fucking sense. They can call us their man, but we can't call them their women. Our women, essentially. Or our woman, essentially. We can go to the same point, and we don't like the labels. I mean, yeah, we don't. Logically, we don't like being labeled as many negative shit that even women fucking have called us from the fucking beginning of time. And I'm talking from 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s to name a number of them. They've been calling us pigs. Um, they've been saying that all we want is pussy. All men want is pussy. They don't want a relationship. We could say the same thing about women. All they want is dick. They don't want a relationship. But yet, when they do want a relationship, they'll go to the points of wanting dick. Then expect the guy to propose and shit like that, right? Aside from giving them extravagant bullshit items that they don't really need, that the woman doesn't really need. That is. The other aspect of it is that women think they have more of a say so on every bit, even if we are not with them. Case in point, like I mentioned earlier, with that damn fucking phone call. And the fucking phone call I'm referring to is when I was in my own place, hanging out with my friend Chris Thompson, and when Jill, this was before she met Chris Dixon, years before, where she thought she can call me up and tell me what to do. Even when we were not going together ever again, even after what she did to me. And I mentioned what she did more than one time. The one time it happened at Valco. She walked away with another guy. The Valco Shopping Center Mall is no longer there, though. It's completely transformed into something else. Something else that will not give them money as much as they think they do in that particular area, but they'll learn eventually. um, then it happened another time without me knowing, of course. And I'm sure it happened even while I went whitewater rafting with her. So it'd be essentially 4 times. That would be 4 times exactly. You know how like okay like on and of course this does happen even on sitcoms where of course it's scripted mostly on sitcoms than it is in real life, but yet in real life it does happen from time to time if the woman really wants to be with you and really cherishes you in her life. And it hasn't happened that way since the late 80s through the 1990s and even through the millennium thus far, where the woman does something separate from you, but that it doesn't consist of sex, right? But like the whitewater rafting thing, and then she she comes right back over to you after that whitewater rafting thing. She comes right back to you while you're on the trip with her, essentially, and holds you close to her and whatnot, right? And she, as you hold her close to you, right? That's one thing she did that Jill did not do when I was on the whitewater rafting trip with her. And she may remember that I didn't want to go on the rafting because I didn't want to tip. I didn't want to topple over. Although in the long run, one of the rafts did, and luckily Scott Yeaman's fiance at the time didn't go along with the rapids, but maybe one or two other people did. But I was unbeknownst to who was in hers versus the one I was in with Scott and Jill. You may wonder if ours toppled over. No, it didn't. Thankfully, thank Heavenly Father for that it did not. It didn't flip over, or else I wouldn't be here even today. Of course, neither would Jill. The other aspect of it is that When the fact that she didn't do that, she thought we were still compatible in the sense that I still considered us to going together, even though in some way or another, in her mind, she may have kind of been in between psychologically, without even saying it. Which basically, well, in a psychological sense, it could easily be the reason why she did what she did at our female friend's place in Sunnyvale. Aside from the fact that she wanted me to get her a GTE type fucking mobile phone while I was when I was already on the clock over at Target. When I was on the clock at Target on the company time. That showed no respect on her part. No respect for me or what my responsibilities were at the time in order to make money for her and I. For myself, actually, I should say myself and her, essentially. That in a way told me, and the more I thought about it, even when I thought about that sort of that basic thing that actually happened, if you want to call it a scenario, when it's really not, it actually happened. That showed how much disrespect she had for me, and yet she claimed that she had respect for me. She didn't. That sort of action also is what women will do, or even attempt. The basic fact is that men and future MGTOW men and the MGTOW members know this already, even before I even said it, because it's been done to them, I'm sure, in maybe a different way. The aspect of it is that women do not care of how they do things and when. As long as they get what they want, that's all they give a damn about. And Chris Dixon, I'm telling the truth. If you're watching Chris Dixon, I'm telling the truth. That's exactly what she did on each of the things I've said, even on part 2. You may wonder again if I forgave the person for not knowing that I was still going with her, but yet she told him that she wasn't. That's another thing that women do. If if you're not going with anybody, yet the woman is, but at the same time they can easily say, I'm not going with anybody either, when really they are going with somebody. The other aspect of it is that maybe to her it all stems to why the reason she did what she did is because I didn't do what she wanted to do, even with her father downstairs. Would I have done that with the fact of her father not being home? Quite possibly. In fact, I thought about that part of it even many years from now. Many years ago, from this point, I thought of that. Would I have done her in the sexual nature without her father being there when I was going with her? quite possibly. In fact, maybe more than possibly. And possibly to the points of a major definite. It is easy to speculate. Basically, psychologically, logically, think back and maybe again speculate and if things played out different, would we do something, and would it at all play out different? Be that to where we'd possibly still be with a bitch today, even to this extent. Or would it play out the same way it did, even if we did go into that aspect? We can go to the points of the general logical assumption and non-judgmental assumption that possibly it could have been playing out the same way as it did, even if we did hit it and do the actual hit it and quit it type of thing, or the sexual aspect of even while in the relationship, even in the beginning straight of it, right? But then again, it might not have. If we would have asked the woman even before she got into a relationship and marriage with another guy, then they could have said, if you did this, it would have definitely played it out differently. That one aspect is that many women will fucking say. But yet they probably would say that just to ease our minds in their own aspect of what have you. Then, of course, there'd be other questions beyond that, of course, right? We can ask any number of them in our own way that we can think that would be possibly logical, maybe sensible, right? Doesn't always have to be the same thing that I'd be talking and asking Jill in that sense. If I were to, I'm not saying I will. I mean, hell, it doesn't have to be really Jill in the sense it could be any woman, really. Excuse me. Um. So basically, MGTOW brothers and future MGTOW brothers, this right here, these three logical, psychological talk, if you want to call them compilations or videos, whichever or both, um, are another aspect of what women do. And with that, they think they're justified by doing. Even the negative, sinful actions that they do to us men. And that they may be doing to you, blue pillars especially. Without your fucking knowledge. Yet when here's the other aspect of it though too, and it's still happening even in today, is that they don't expect us men to know what they were doing, so they'll bullshit their way through. But when it comes to us and them asking us what are we doing, they want us to be fucking straightforward and honest and say, "Oh yeah, baby, I'm fucking another woman," or "Yeah, baby, I'm hanging out with my friends and we're watching we're at a fucking strip club." Or yeah, we're watching one of our other friends fuck three women at the same time. But when it comes to anything that when we ask them that what they're doing, they'll bullshit their way through. They won't tell us the honest fucking truth. They won't even say, "Oh, don't worry, honey." Various things like that. And so they'll say something on the phone, "Oh, don't worry, honey. I'll talk to you later, okay?" Type of thing. But when it comes to us men, it's a completely different thing. They expect us to say what we're doing. And even if we more than hesitate, they go to the points of judgment. What are you really doing? Is a woman with you? When we ask the same thing when it comes to is a man with you? I mean, it's a whole fucking topsy turvy thing toward they expect us to tell them what's really going on versus versus they don't feel like they have to tell us what's really going on. Hardly if any point in time that they tell us what's really going on. But yet they expect us men fucking to tell them exactly what's going on. And what I just mentioned earlier was just an example. Oh yeah, we're what, yeah, I'm fucking another woman, all that sort of stuff, like I said earlier, right? That right there is the two differential aspects to it. And they think they can get away with it. And yet I know they think that what we can get away with, not telling them, but yet they'll push and pedal until we actually tell them what's really going on. But when we do the pushing and pedaling, they get annoyed and hang up or whatever else, right? Like, you don't trust me, do you? Type of thing. And when we say the same thing, yeah, I trust you, honey. I just don't want nobody to take you away from me. That's what they say. I trust you, honey, but I don't want them to take you away from me. I don't want any other woman to take you away from me. Essentially, that's the reasoning to it. But if we were to say that to them, they'll say, "Oh, don't worry, honey. I'm for you and you're for me. Don't worry. No one's gonna take me away from you." See how well I know the male-female psyche? I'm just giving you bits and pieces here, okay? And on that aspect, it's bits and pieces. But the actions, the things I've said on part one of logical MGTOW, logical psychological talk, 1, 2, and this is now 3. I'm telling you. You blue pill may not believe it. You simp manginas may not believe it, but it's an actuality. We MGTOW members know it to be more than factual and realistic and more than true. Even Mr. Hate Vicious and Mike the MGTOW Man and James Von Maxwell and also Coach and even Tom Likas knows it's more than the damn truth. Yet they would voice it in their own way, the only way they know how to. I respect that. But I'm voicing it in the way I know to be an actuality as well. And the other aspect of it is that simply I could be just getting to the very more than pinnacle point to it. Who's to say? I'm not saying I am. I'm not saying I'm not. But the end result is that women do this shit and they think they're justified by doing. They do the shit that I said on part 1, part 2, and this one, part 3. And the other videos that I've said even before I did this logical, psychological talk video or compilations, however you want to call them. Or whatever else you want to call them in that sense. So the only thing we have in the aspect of the cards. Okay, here's card number 1. Here's a set of like cards number 1 and cards number 2. Cards number 1, go our own way. Don't deal with the feminist bullshit. Don't believe their bullshit. Don't fall in for their simping mangina blue pill crap. Card number 2, they would take you for everything that you have in the end result. They would expect you to. They'd expect you to submit and commit. They'd expect you to buy them extravagant things. They'd expect you to do all sorts of shit. Even as they go behind your back and do the sinful actions, they would expect you to believe them and trust them. And still love them and still be with them. Even forgive them for cheating on you. I'd go with set of cards number 1. Go your own way. Do not give a ring, even an engagement ring, to the fucking feminist female. Build up your own finances. Fucking build up your own self-esteem. The whole enchilada, emotional, psychological. And also, don't even walk down that fucking aisle with the feminist female, or she'll take you for everything you have. Outside of your own self, that is. Again. Only benefit, if you have any children with a woman, married or not, yet at that point, only benefit the child. Or children. That's it. Don't benefit her. Don't benefit the woman. Only benefit the children. Even if by chance one of them is not yours, still benefit the child. But not her. Show you're the better man. She may want you to still benefit her even though you're not with her. Don't even fall for that shit. I've been drinking this ever since I was like 5, 6 years of age, man. Possibly even 4. And no, YouTube. I'm just showing what what I like drinking, man. This is my favorite drink right here. I'm not advertising. I'm not getting paid for anything like that. So don't worry there. But I'm getting back on that. These and much more of what I said even before these three compilations of logical, psychological talk, of logical MGTOW. These plus many others that of what I've said and what other MGTOW members have said, current MGTOW members have said, it is more than factual. It's more than true. Even if we may word things differently, it still rings true. There's many things that we word differently of what Tom Likas has said. It still rings true. We word things differently on everything, on any subject, any particular issue, what have you else, right? But it still rings true nonetheless. it will not change. With the fact of it is that right now, many MGTOW members have even more than speculated and more than theorized that women will never change. Simply because they feel that they were dealt the wrong type of cards from the very first point when they became independent. As if that ERA did not do the extra step in the sense of having society and daddy government give them equal the same type of fucking cards that the male has, but for the female. And I'm talking cards in the sense of living their own life and in the aspect of success and various other things, right? In the base of being accepted by not only society but people in general, even the opposite gender, in the logical, spirit, realistic sense, in the woman's mind. So what they're doing, what they have done, is almost like an attack upon gender, an attack upon daddy government. But daddy government doesn't even look at it that way. They should, but they don't. And women are doing the general attack upon not only us men by doing us wrong and expecting with the high expectations and shit like that in their so-called bullshit entitlements. They want, with the aspect of the women are now acting like men type of thing. They feel that they would be more than accepted, more than, in the sense of treated right. Yet, here's the other aspect though, too. With even that becoming a gradual reality of women acting like men in various different aspects, in their own understanding, psychologically as well as otherwise, right? There's been women wondering why we men don't want to work with women. They don't want to, where we men don't want to go to the aspect of even being anywhere near them, even in the workplace. There's many reasons why. I mean, it's more than obvious. There's a number of them that's obvious. That women know that they can get away with because of daddy government, for one. Will white knight for them. Like, for example, if something the guy says that he doesn't mean in any insulting or sexual manner, or even what he does in this, or even when he actually talks with a woman, he doesn't mean in any inappropriate sexual manner or anything else that's not comfortable to and for the woman, they automatically take it as such, though. Thereby, we're out of a job. We men are out of a job because of that. Because of what we said innocently. That we did not mean anything sexually or any inappropriate aspects or anything, but yet the fucking feminist female fucking takes it as such, though. Even if we just lightly rub against them when we're trying to go over to another part of, say, an office building or another part of a store while we're doing our jobs, or anything for that matter, depending on, and you know, even if there's still somewhat a room we don't want to rub against the wall or anything else, we don't want to knock anything over, right? But yet they'll still take it as a sexual fucking thing. The other aspect of it is that it could, in some aspects, is that it's a competition in the workplace between men and women. I mean, hell, it's been a competition between men and women in the workplace even before this whole shit happened. Years before this whole shit happened. And when men rubbed against women, there was no. They may have done some sort of surprising thing to it, and yet the man didn't mean to do it in any sexual manner or reasoning, what not. But yet the woman probably thought they did mean and go into the sexual aspect of rubbing against them when they really weren't meaning anything sexual. But of course, even at that time, women didn't know if they had any place to say anything about it. This was several years ago. So therefore, there was no issues really put into notice. Even if the woman did say something, the management would more often than not ignore it and make some sort of excuse to where the woman would easily, go about her day. But yet there are women years later that would take it even a step further to where it got to where it got to the way it is now when it comes to women and men. In a sense, even before the feminist movement of the 1970s and the current feminist and Me Too movement. And with the more backing and support by daddy government, that's another aspect to it. They didn't have, in accordance to what the way things were, they didn't feel like they had any backing or support by daddy government. But when it came to, shall we say, sexual assault and beatings and various other things, yeah, eventually daddy government essentially stood up to the plate at various points, but not continuously like daddy government's doing even now. But daddy government's not doing it when it comes to us men getting done wrong by the woman, even in the physical aspect. Even when it comes to our own property. Like, for example, there was a video I saw yesterday where a woman would literally start hitting the window and put a knife to the guy's tires on his vehicle. I mean, this bitch was a fucking loon on the video, and the cops apparently took their sweet time getting over there. But if it came to a woman, you'd see on the video, you'd see them right there, white knighting. I know that for a fact. But when it comes to the guys getting attacked by the woman, la di da, la di da, The basic fact is, women are getting too much of something that they truly do not deserve. And they're using it to their advantage in the most illogical, sinful way. And to the points to the beyond absurdum and more than way beyond ridiculous, illogical, unrealistic proportions and aspects and levels. But the feminist female doesn't see it that way, now do they? But we MGTOW men know this to be true as well. You could say until the female sees the feminist female sees it the way we do, things won't change. You could say that easy. Even Mr. Hate Vicious himself has said, "You want us men to be back to the plantation? Go to daddy government and get things changed towards beneficial for us as well as you." He didn't say it in those words, but I know I can word it in many different ways he said it. But I understood it. Mr. Hate Vicious is another MGTOW brother I respect and I totally support. Mike the MGTOW man, I totally respect him back on what he has said as well as James Von Maxwell, and as well as Coach Greg Adams, and of course at one point Duzangs. So the whole aspect is that it could end up to when even one woman, if not more than one woman, sees it the way I explained it when it comes to the male female gender. Things may never change unless daddy government it goes to the point to where it goes to more than ridiculous proportions that the females are getting away with shit way too often, or even way more than too often. Who's to say? We can only speculate, theorize, maybe too as well, right? And even with all that and the other things I said though too, women expect us to fucking go into the plantation, stay in the plantation, allow them allow the women to get at our resources and do the cat and mouse chase as it was when we were teenagers between the male and female situations, right? To where they can get at our resources and get us in trouble if they don't want to be, and if they don't want nothing to do with us, they get us in trouble by the laws and by daddy government along the way. And those that take a liking to us, they use another aspect to it to where they date us, they like us, and then fucking go to the points of expecting us to commit. And if we don't commit, then they get a hissy fit like a little fucking child. This whole fucking bullshit that even with the feminist movement, women have acted like little fucking 2-year-olds. They're not even though they're in the adult form, they've acted like little fucking 2-year-olds. All the way through, even with daddy government white knighting for the bitches. You've heard of the terrible twos. I know that for a fact, MGTOW brothers and future MGTOW brothers. That's exactly what they're doing. What the fucking feminist female is doing. They've been doing that since the late 80s, 1990s, and even through the beginning part of the millennium. Even to this point in the millennium. Who's to say if it'll carry on beyond 2020? And I'm talking like 2030, 2040, 2050, something like that, right? Even maybe if this planet is able to make it beyond the 2000s to maybe 3 to 4000s, right? They may even do the same shit while living on humanity is living on other planets like Mars, and various other solar system type planets. You know, like Saturn, for example, another one. Maybe not so much the heated ones, but Saturn and maybe Pluto, as well as the moon itself. and maybe some beyond the solar system. Women may continue to do this shit to where Gene Roddenberry's vision of everybody getting along and everything may not happen 100% when it comes to the male-female gender, though. But it may happen when it comes to countries coinciding, relating, getting along and all this. But when it comes to male-female gender, it may not happen. It may happen to what's happening now. Who's to say? I'm not judging. I'm not accusing or nothing, but I'm being honest here. It could easily go that far. The way things are going right now, with daddy government allowing shit to the points of ridiculous, more than way beyond ridiculous proportions when it comes to feminist female getting their fucking way with their high entitlements, indecisive, and their other bullshit, and yet they don't, and where they're more than favored than us, man. It may happen. Who's to say? I'm not judging. I'm not attacking the feminist female on any sinful aspect, but I'm being honest. At the same time, the women may take it as a judgment and what have you. I don't care, but hey, I'm being honest. Even as a spiritual man as I am, I'm being honest in His name, our Savior's name. But then again, it may change even after a number of us are no longer living on this planet. We may never know. We may know in a spiritual sense, being when we're not on this planet, when we're with Heavenly Father, even after judgment. But we may not know unless it happens within our lifetime. Or even in the beginning base of our life. If it happens in the beginning base while we're still around. It's still a huge question mark on that aspect, and I know. So, future MGTOW brothers, blue-pilled simps. It's better to be MGTOW and not to cohabitate with a feminist female, or you'll be screwed over. Financially as well as otherwise. It's better to not cohabitate with a female. It's better not to, you can even go to the points of not even associating with a female. Even though, but in the workplace you may have to. But outside the workplace you don't have to. But also, watch your P's and Q's in the workplace. But when it comes to your P's and Q's, you can go as long as you know that you are 100% safe, where the woman cannot get you for anything, even in the legal pretense or aspect, really. This is the truth, man. I may do a part 4. I'm not sure yet. I mean, things come up to me every day now to talk about. A lot more than they used to, that's for sure. I may even say something on Sunday. I don't know. Or I may take a break until the week of next week. Who's to say? I don't know. I may say something after advocating, in the sense of also doing an advocate video like I do from time to time. No one knows, but there is a thing, though, that does come to mind, and that is that the feminist female may feel unjust, unjustly done, or things were unjustly not really put in their favor equal to the male. But the one thing is, though, too, is that the feminist female doesn't get the fucking fact that the aspect of reality has not reached the aspect of Gene Roddenberry's vision, to where everybody gets along, where there's no more he said, she said, he said, or anything negative and sinful when it comes to the male female genders, and also the where there's no more aspect of unfairness between the two genders on any level, even speculatory, or even the points of negative assumptions, mostly done by and voiced by the feminist female. But the feminist female don't want to wait. They think they're doing something logical and realistic, even though it's negatively affecting the male. It's never a good thing of what they're doing to us men. Yet they feel like they're doing it because they felt the same. They felt being done wrong by us men, or the male gender in general. There's better ways instead of trying to get at a male's resources and his things that he paid for before and during the relationship and before the marriage that he bought for himself and that he earned in the sense of income for himself. There's better ways to do it, but yet the feminist female has not come up with anything that is more than logical, that does not negatively affect the male. And believe me, it's out there. There are many things. But the feminist female thinks that they're in more than justified by doing what they're doing to the male. Even in divorce court by daddy government. That's the fact. Will they ever find the other ways without negatively affecting us men financially as well as otherwise, right? To where we're able to still be with and see our children and possibly be married, to where we're not judged and negatively done wrong in any way. To where we can easily turn around and not doing anything negatively wrong to them, to show that we didn't do anything negatively wrong, even though they may have felt as such, right? Think about that. There's more to it, but it just rings it rings logic. It rings total fucking sense, more than common sense. But the aspect of it is only time will tell. On that, even on that aspect, we MGTOW members know this. Even if the many MGTOW members don't know this, they know this now. This is Logical MGTOW Spock. If you have any questions, or if you want to know more, or even talk to me, even the current MGTOW members can talk with me on Facebook Messenger as well as Instagram Messenger. Believe me, I'll be more than happy to talk with you. Even the new MGTOW members and even the Blue Pill Simps. And yes, I'm still willing to talk with Christy O'Misty and Emily Emerson. If they have any questions of why, I said even if they were to watch this video, part 3, even the ones before the 1, 2, and 3 of logical talk, of Logical MGTOW. And even if I got a response from Chris Dixon, in a comment section below to start with, or even a phone call. If they do have my number, I'm not going to say if they do or not. I don't really care. Um, but if Chris Dixon is watching this video and he feels that he's been unjustly mistreated by Jill and lied, believe me, I will support him and I will welcome him, and I will make sure that the many MGTOW brothers welcome him into the MGTOW philosophy and the manosphere of MGTOW. But I will help him emotionally and psychologically, not really financially. I will help him in the sense of getting an employment to where he can better himself outside him and Jill, if he ever chose to do so. To where he can build up his own resources and finances for himself outside of Jill. Yeaman, a.k.a. Jill Dixon. I can do that. And I know many of our MGTOW brothers, current MGTOW brothers, will help him out with that as well. In their own way. We MGTOW brothers will do the same thing for every blue-pilled simp, purple-pilled simp as well, that want to better themselves outside of their situations with the feminist female. Even if they were already done wrong. Or have been even lied to even in the relationship or marriage with the feminist bitch. That's a promise. This is Logical MGTOW Spock. Live long and prosper, MGTOW brothers and future MGTOW brothers. Stay safe, stay strong, stay self-assured, self-confident from within yourself to start with. Build up your finances. Don't cohabitate with the fucking feminist female. Don't fucking talk. You don't have to talk to the feminist female except for maybe if you're employed somewhere, like retail or wherever else. But you don't have to cohabit. You don't have to communicate with the feminist female outside of that, outside of work anyway. And don't give in to the feminist female, even if she pressures you to be married to her, because that's more than a trap. That's more than the base of emotional psychological prison for us men nowadays. Stay MGTOW. Stay MGTOW strong. Stay strong psychologically as well as emotionally. If you have any questions, you can ask any one of our MGTOW brothers, even myself. Have a good day. And MGTOW for life.